Good afternoon. It's a bit later today. I thought we'll try a little bit later in the day, and why not? Nice to mix it up a little bit, and got this natural, lovely daylight coming in now because it's quite bright out there. So let's, as always, start with what I am thankful for today before we get to the main nub of the message today, which is another in our Reiki Precepts series. So, what I'm thinking about today for gratitude is beautiful sunlight. Looking out there, it's a lovely bright day. Absolutely wonderful. And let's make the most of these summery days as we wax more into October and the autumn really begins to start taking hold. I'm really enjoying a moment before those dreaded clocks go back as if we get more darkness, and nobody likes that, do they? Well, maybe some do, but I don't. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'm grateful for is that lovely laser machine of mine. I love my little uh, laser engraver even. I don't edit. What you hear is what you get. And so, yeah, a laser engraver doing some lovely pieces. I've had a couple of orders of late, and I'll just show you this one. Now, this one's on wood, and that is a picture of me and my mum who passed last year. And it's just a lovely way to bring things to a more permanent kind of memory almost. I love doing things like that. Wood's not normally the method I would use for engravings like that, but I like doing it just to see what can be done. Because I would, if I was to save that for a customer or something, I'd almost certainly put that on slate where the quality is so much better. But wood's a great thing to test on, and that's what I tend to do is test on wood, see how that comes out. But really happy with that. But yes, slate's normally the way I go with those, but really happy with that. And finally, the last thing that I'm grateful for today is, and it'll make you laugh, The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. It's season two is come to its climax. It's pretty much what I expected. Maybe a little bit disappointing at the very end. I thought it was a little bit weak, and for sure they're taking huge liberties, which will upset the masses who are real Tolkien diehards. It certainly takes a lot of liberties. But did you enjoy it? Yes, I did. That at the end of the day is what it's all about. Did you enjoy the series? Yes, and I can't wait for the next series if it's going to be one. They're my three things to be thankful for. As we now come into the second part, which is really what this message is all about, and that is just for today, be honest with others. And I'm also going to add in yourself as well. So being honest. Now, often when I do my courses, I like to use the analogy of someone dropping like some money in front of you, a little £10 note or something, or let's imagine for our friends in America, $10 or whatever, and you having the fortitude to pick that money up and say, "Hey, you dropped this money," and I'm sure most of us would agree, "Yeah, I'll do that." But would you? Let's imagine that you're really down on your luck and money's a bit tight at the moment. And then you're kind of compelled to think, well, that money could be useful. Would you be so honest then? It is a dilemma that can come to some of us. Um, I'm sure the more virtuous of us say, oh, I wouldn't have any hesitation in giving that money straight back. And that's good to hear. But let's really be honest with ourselves at times and go down and say, would you really? And honesty is obviously that's just one example. Another example of honesty, well, we'll switch it round a little bit. Imagine you're at work and you're beavering away doing all this work, and your colleague, let's call them loosely, is over there having a life of Riley, feet up at the desk, not doing very much, and you're beavering away, getting more and more resentful. And your manager comes in, says, "Hi, Gary, everything okay?" And I say, "Yeah." Well, really, I want to fume, I want to vent, but to keep the peace, I might just say, "Oh, everything's fine." And instead of just being honest and saying, "No, actually, that lazy individual isn't doing very much. I'm doing all his work." Of course, we probably find that some of us wouldn't do that. If some of us quite freely say, "Oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'll tell them straight away that's not on." But again, let's come to that honesty. It's sometimes there's a little areas we can look at in our lives where perhaps we're not as honest as we think we are. To really go through all those different aspects and think to yourself, would I be honest in that situation? Am I being honest? And be honest with yourself. You might. tell yourself a little white lie and say like, "Oh, I've done loads today." Well, really, you sat on your backside with your feet up. Is that what? I'm not saying we're not here to judge. That may be what's needed that day, but are you being honest with yourself? So, and it comes to emotional matters as well, where like again you might keep the peace just to stop any friction. Now, I'm not going to say that's always wrong. Sometimes it's quite wise to tell a little white lie now and then. But really, we want to stay in the energy of honesty. If we can stay there, we won't need to be in the position to tell those white lies, will we? But let's leave it at that. Have a think on that for you. And as always, please do leave your thoughts and comments if there's what you feel about being honest. Quite a broad spectrum for you to mull over. I shall leave it there. Much love to you all. See you on the next one.